you ever been in this situation before? You decide that for today, you're going to be playing as the medic, and you, and whichever one of your teammates you click on first, are about to go for the biggest kill streak of both of your lives. But then, partway through, you realise your mistake. Your teammates are all morons. You are currently at half HP. Your teammate can heal you if they so choose, but instead of doing that, they decide they'll completely ignore your cries of medic, and instead, eat the chocolate bar themselves right in front of you. And then, just to put some more icing on the cake, they also eat it in front of the entire enemy team, as you stand there helpless to react, because you're just a medic, aren't you? How on earth could you fight back? Maybe you'll equip a syringe gun, and say that you've had enough with your stupid teammates doing stupid things, and decide to attack people yourself. With enemies right around the corner and you have no teammates nearby, your only option is self-defense, and you managed to succeed. Congratulations, you are a battle medic. You stopped thinking about your teammates and now you are thinking of yourself. But just as you get into the rhythm of it, your teammates realize that you're doing the unthinkable. Having fun while playing a video game, and they decide to hate you. And now you're faced with an ultimatum. Use the crossbow, or get out. And so you submit. You're going to give up all forms of self-defense, and just play as a regular medic. The crossbow sacrifices all of the self-defense that the syringe guns give you, in return for extra healing. And now you're back at square one. Your teammates still refuse to support you, and when they die, you're sure to follow. But if I'm going to be forced to use the crossbow, then I'm going to use it my way, because the crossbow still deals damage. First things first, the crossbow works significantly differently to the medic syringe guns. Instead of firing multiple small, low-damaging needles, the crossbow fires one medium-ish damage bolt. These bolts range from, at minimum, dealing 38 damage, all the way up to dealing 75. And this sounds frankly terrible, to be honest, considering it has a 1.5 second reload and a 0.25 second attack interval, basically making it 1.75 seconds, considering it has one bullet in it to begin with. This leaves it with, at maximum, 42 damage per second, which is only slightly better than the overdose deals at maximum fall off, with it dealing 4 damage for every needle and having an attack interval of 0.105. The overdose will deal 38 DPS, which is slightly worse than what the crossbow can do at its best. So in terms of raw DPS, the crossbow pales in comparison, but that is not what it's good for. Because it fires a single bolt rather than multiple small ones, it is great for burst damage. See, one of the biggest issues with the needle guns is that you need to consistently shoot your enemies in order to deal damage, which, doing so with the syringe guns, is rather difficult if you're not used to them. The crossbow, on the other hand, you can shoot them once and they're dead. Another neat thing about the crossbow is that it is significantly easier to actually shoot your enemies. It fires without an arc, meaning wherever your cursor is, that is where your projectile will land. And the final thing to touch up on damage-wise is that the crossbow actually has reverse fall-off and ramp-up, meaning that the closer you are to enemies, the less damage you deal, and the further away you are, the more damage. And what this means is that compared to the syringe guns, it is worse for self-defense, considering every other class in the game, aside from you, operate at medium and close ranges, meaning that the crossbow will either deal average or low damage. Simply put, you cannot pursue enemies with this weapon. They can outdamage you, you will die. So instead, what you need to do is utilize the reverse ramp up and shoot enemies who are further away from you. Because the crossbow is burst damage, And more importantly, its reload is completely passive, meaning you don't need to have the weapon active in order to reload it. What you can do is fire a bolt into a crowd, and then switch back to your medigun while you are reloading, and heal your teammates like normal. This is of course provided you actually have teammates who are nearby, which I happen to lack often. If you get rushed down by someone without any teammates nearby, what can you do with the crossbow? You can't just shoot them down 38 damage at a time at close range every 1.75 seconds. They can outdamage you, and again you will just die. Luckily, the medic has a melee weapon. These babies deal 65 damage a pop, and fire about twice as fast as the crossbow. Simply put, if an enemy gets in your melee range, hit free and get them out of there, either through hitting them or making them run away. When you hit somebody with your melee, the first thing they will try and do is get away out of your range, which if you're using your crossbow, allows you to do this. You hit somebody with your melee weapon, and either through the knockback of that hit or their own free will, they go further away, allowing you to quickly switch to your crossbow and finish them off. And this is really fun to do. In fact, hitting air shots is one of the best things this weapon does. Because people in the air are typically further away from you, you will be doing higher amounts of damage. Even if you're not the one who gets the finishing blow, you can at least soften up enemies for your teammates to get for you. I mean, you're playing medic, assists are kinda your thing. But what you can also do is throw it off in the middle of a fight in order to get a finishing blow on your enemies. A little bit of extra damage never hurts, and if you are on your own, it's the only thing you really can do. So you may as well. Now, aside from its damage potential, the crossbow obviously does have its healing, which is what it's most known for. I'm not going to go too deep into this, simply because everyone knows this is what the crossbow does, everyone knows this is why it's good. It's just overdone, and I don't need to do it. But there, I mentioned it. At close range it will deal 75 healing to your teammates, and its maximum healing at far range is 150. And so that is everything about the crossbow. But I'm not done talking about it. I have not told you just how good it being a burst shot weapon really is for the medic. While yes, it frankly does pitiful damage up close, you can counteract this with your melee weapon. And offensively, the crossbow counters everything else, medium and long range. With it being a burst shot weapon, think of it as cramming like 7 needles into one click of the mouse. It makes combat a lot more easier if you aren't used to rapid fire weapons, and a lot more satisfying. Also, I mentioned that this weapon doesn't have an arc, which means that it is really good at taking out 2 of a battle medic's biggest counters, a sentry gun and a sniper. Simply put, sentry guns don't move, so if you're able to find a cheeky angle on it, you can fire a couple of crossbow bolts and take it out. And for a similar reason, the crossbow makes it surprisingly easy to out-snipe a sniper. Sometimes. But with its focus on longer range combat, it allows you to stay at a safer distance. See, when I say battle medic in combat, I don't mean just ditching all of your teammates, running off on your own, firing needles like a damn idiot, because you're an idiot. See, that right there is the meme of battle medic, where you completely ignore your class's primary role and just go off shooting people. But for a real battle medic, it isn't about that, because you can still heal people with your medigun. It's about finding the correct balance between healing and dishing out damage. Something that the crossbow, with its burst damage compared to sustained fire, is even better at than the needle guns. Sometimes when you're playing medic, simply put, your healing just isn't worth it. Sometimes your teammates don't take enough damage, or their aim is just really bad and they fail to kill an enemy, and sometimes you just need to take it into your own hands. That is what battle medic is. Not to say that you should completely ditch healing your teammates, but rather, if it isn't important to heal them, take the time to dish out some damage to support them that way. And the crossbow fits into this mindset perfectly, because it rewards that exact playstyle, being aware and being opportunistic, and being confident enough to act when no one else will. You don't have to be in people's faces, you don't need to be chasing kills or diving behind enemy lines. You can play safely and you can play smart. Play around your team and just pop off a few shots when the time calls. And if an enemy ambushes you and your teammates abandon you, you can use it for self-defense along with your melee weapon. I'll just give you this one bit of advice. Don't be afraid to attack people as a medic. They will allow you to get away with it. See, sometimes medic is actually really similar to spy, in the fact that you can just run up to people and start hitting them with a melee or with a ranged weapon, and they just ignore you sometimes. People don't expect to find a medic separated from their team, and if they ever encounter one, they view them as nothing more than a free kill. Which is simply not true. Shoot some people when they approach you with the crossbow, and once they get close, start swinging your melee weapon, and you will truly be a force to be reckoned with. Of course, you can only survive so long without a team nearby. And the medic himself is quite squishy. But this really does not mean he isn't good for combat. As a medic, you can deal a significant chunk of damage towards an enemy's HP. Whether it is to finish them off, or to soften them up for your pocket, sometimes your own input is necessary to secure a kill. And while I did say that the medic is quite squishy, he isn't that bad, to be honest. Compared to 4 of the classes being Sniper, Scout, Engineer and Spy, the medic has 25 more base HP, and a passive health regen. So the medic is actually a little bit more tanky than those 4 classes. Plus, the medic will move at the same movement speed as a spy, 107%, which is the second fastest in the game. This means that while at first it seems really stupid to run into melee range with people, you can outspeed them and get into that range far easier than you would imagine. So the crossbow is just great for picking off low health enemies from a distance, self-defense, and burst damage while you are healing someone. The only thing that it isn't really great at is at close range, which your melee can cover for you. Like, up to 75 damage at range is a lot, and even at medium ranges when you're doing 40 to 50 damage, it's still a decent chunk of enemies' HP. If you use your movement well, a medic on their own can be a force to be reckoned with, so long as you don't run straight at a large powerhouse. So in reality, this is less of a video about the crossbow itself, but rather a battle medic mindset using the crossbow. And so let's say you do find this enticing. You want to start dishing out a little bit of damage as medic, but you don't want to completely abandon your teammates and run off with a needle gun. And you still want the healing potential of the crossbow. Well, you can do all of that. And it might just bring a new dosage of excitement to the normally stale medic gameplay. Because I'm going to face it, not everyone likes playing as medic, because of the general consensus of being that it is not that fun. All you do is sit behind a teammate, like an engineer, turtles behind a sentry gun. But that's not true. Being more offensive and combat oriented allows you to have so much more fun and freedom as this class. And the focus of this being around the crossbow itself, rather than the typical syringe gun, opens up the door. You don't need to handicap yourself to have fun. You can use a traditional medic loadout and have just as much fun shooting down people if you have good game sense. And another thing, this is casual TF2. This isn't a competitive scrim. Your loadout doesn't matter, and it does not affect your teammates. You don't have to be the most optimal, you don't have to use the most optimal loadout, and you don't have to do the most optimal playstyle. Do whatever is fun for you. Of course, if sitting behind someone, pocketing them the whole time, and making them basically immortal is what is fun for you, that is totally valid. But the way that I have fun with Medic is by doing some battling myself. Whether this is through necessity due to my teammates being morons, but it can be fun to run off on your own and do some shooting. Like this clip right here, where for some reason I'm the only one with eyes who can see this scout who is killing all of us. Just quickly deal with him, and then uh-oh, there's a sniper over there. Don't worry, I'm going to pop my uber charge so this Derry man and I can go over and kill them without worrying about an instant kill headshot. And where's the Derry man gone? Okay, so they just completely abandoned me, but that's okay, because this sniper and I are going to duel it out. Me with a crossbow and them with a gun. This isn't going to go well for me. See, I might not actually be killing them very quickly, but because I'm able to dodge them sometimes, I'm not sure how much of this is skill to be honest, I'm able to support my teammates by stopping the sniper from killing any of them on the control point. And you know, now that the point has been captured, it would probably be a good time to run back to my team, but I'm already too far in, so let's just keep going. And I ended up chasing the sniper all the way back to their own spawn room. Is this particularly effective? Not really. Would it have probably been a better play to run back to my team? Most definitely. But did I have a lot of fun, and was it eventually successful in the end? Yes, and it was really fun. And that's what TF2 is supposed to be. And sitting there passive isn't particularly fun. What is fun is mixing between healing and hurting. And for this reason, whenever I am doing offensive medic, I love to use the quick fix, because it can heal my teammates quicker, I get to heal them up and go back to combat slightly quicker. And it allows you to do this. Yeah, and people say medic isn't good at combat. Apparently dealing 60 damage to people doesn't constitute an assist though. Huh. And my favourite medic melee to pair while being offensive is of course the Solemn Vow, which allows you to see enemy HP. It just allows you to be a little bit more thoughtful, letting you make the decision whether to continue firing your crossbow, retreat, or go in for a melee finish. Being able to see enemy HP just lets you do that. The crossbow is not just useful for its healing, it also deals damage. And I just want you to think about that. And next time you are using medic, you don't even need to switch up your loadout. Just switch your brain around and start firing the crossbows at people a little bit more often than you would before. If you have a moment of downtime or your teammates are fully healed, you have nothing to lose by sending off a crossbow. And you might just have a little bit more fun. Stop restricting how you play the class. Play it however you want. And just make sure that you are having fun.